India, in Shimla. So, which is very unusual because usually people don't go to Shimla, but I went there. So.
Yeah, I went there with work.
For a conference or?
No, with Business Kodak. So I used to cover India from here. So that's how I first came out here, many moons ago. And this little girl was my guide. She attached herself to me. I've still got the little stones that she gave me and stuff. So me and the other chap from France actually, he used to drive in mad because I could never get his name right. So my Indian distributor used to call him Yves Morin. And after about 5 days, it drove him, because his name was Yves Morin, but he would call him the Yves Morin, and he always put the in front of it. Yeah. So who's going to do the picture then? Thank you. Thank you, boss.
Thank you.
Right, so what we do on a regular basis, usually once a month, for 10 times, is have a coffee with CEOs. So it's more of a informal meeting and a chat.
Okay.
So, but people who are actually doing the jobs that we study or we know of. So it gives a real life taste to students. So we try and get industry involved in, as well, especially here at the Incubation Centre. So we have mentor-me sessions, coffee with CEO, and as much industry contact as we possibly can. So we're not boring listening to me bang on about presentations and business all the time. So they have people who are more akin to doing what they're involved with. So that's the basics behind it. Okay. And as I said to you when you come in, it's an industry that I'm very keen on. Corporate gifts and events and giveaways are huge business, and people remember them for a long while. So without further ado, I won't bother introducing you or your companies. You can do that. So welcome, sure. Julie Leblan, and it is Leblan, isn't it?
Yes.
Not the Julie Leblan.
No. You can at some point, but I think it's okay with my ego, you know. Like
it did make me laugh. Paul, he's such a lovely chap, Eve, and after 5 days he just lost it, and he was trying to get Rabbi to pronounce Yves Morin, and he just couldn't do it. It was so funny, it was hilarious. And a lot of the time they would get my name wrong as well. How you get Gary wrong, I don't know. But I was often called Mr. Gray. So they would switch the A and the R.
And reverse. Okay.
Yeah. And also the Egypt, because you used to have the Arabic on the back of your, but it was always translated by Egyptians. Yeah. And they don't have G.
Yeah.
So I'm Mr. Jerry.
Yeah.
Mr. Jerry. So I was
That's a mover.
So I was always either Mr. Jerry or Mr. Gray. You know, it didn't bother me. I don't know, Mike. But yes, welcome, Julie, and please give us a quick brief on your journey here, and more interestingly, what you're doing with your companies.
Sure. So, as you can hear, I'm French. I'm a French national. I can't really hide it. Originally, I'm a finance lawyer. I worked in Paris and London, mainly for very large corporate companies. So I work for Royal Bank of Scotland in structured finance. I work for Leblan, which is one of the largest American law firms in the world. And I was extremely specialized in very sophisticated things in finance, like securitization, syndication, structured finance in real estate or LBO. And after some time, I just find myself not at the right place. I couldn't, it was my studies, you know, like I studied 7 years in university. I became a lawyer. It's quite difficult in France, and I studied in the UK as well. and I did everything to be right, but I was bored. And I liked intellectually the challenge of what I was doing, but I was feeling constrained about, I think, the entrepreneurship aspect of things, you know, like not being able to have my own ideas, just advising clients, and sometimes they don't implement the suggestion you are giving them. And only also a small part of the business, because law is only, legal aspect is only one side. So actually we decided as a family to move to Dubai. It was not Dubai by choice at the beginning, it's by chance. My husband had an opportunity to come here, and I already had one child, I was pregnant of the second one, so I arrived as a family, you know, like not as a business person or anything. And I created my first company about 9 months after. Just wait to have the baby, and then I did it. And so the first company was called My List. It was a B2C gifting website, originally a gift registry website. At that time, in 2011, you had almost no e-commerce platform in Dubai. We were one of the first B2C websites with a payment gateway. And I wanted first to launch an e-commerce, but there was no logistics, no transportation, warehouses were very expensive, the trade license were horrendous. So I just said, okay, how can I find a kind of e-commerce website and convert it to something without inventory? No risk, no buying, nothing. So the gift registry concept with wishlist was the way to go, because we partnered with first 20 retailers, and we started to do wedding lists, baby shower lists, this kind of thing. So it was the beginning of gifting, you know, in a B2C perspective. And what was interesting, we shifted from 80% expats, or Westerners mainly, to 60% Arabs using our service in 2 years. It grew tremendously. I started to have some seed investment coming in the company, mainly from business angel, angel investors. And then we had an opportunity. In 2013, we started to have inquiries from corporate buyers. Some of them used to be my clients in Europe or in the US. Actually, they contacted me and they say, we are looking for someone to partner with us and help us to provide employee rewards and customer rewards in the region. And so the idea came, we started to help them a little bit, and then we realized that there was a massive opportunity. So in 2016, I created Merit Incentives, which is the actual company that I have now. My List is still part of it. So we built on top of the other company with a network of retailers that we created, and we kind of pivoted the business from B2C only to B2B. So Merit Incentive, I explain you now what we do. When we define Merit Incentive, we are an engagement technology company. So we do gifting and promotional things, but we digitalize it. So we provide SaaS and white label platforms that allows you to engage either internally with your employees or externally with your customers. So we have worked mainly with...
Please tell me you don't do NFTs.
NFTs?
Non-fungible tokens. You've seen those?
No, that's it.
These people know about them. They're digital pieces of art that go for ridiculous sums of money. And they're
really?
just graphics.
Oh, I would love to know more about that.
Well, you should.
Yes.
Honestly, people have paid. There's a monkey's head, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's $500,000.
Really?
And yes, you own that piece. There's non-fungible tokens.
I'm sure I would have clients. Anything tradable, I can find a client. So
well, I must get commission for that. But they're a thing. They're real.
Anything. Actually, we are opening now to so many more options. I'll explain you how we went there. So. First, these international clients that came to us wanted to have, for example, one of our first clients was Marriott. So Marriott has a loyalty program in the region or worldwide, and they need fulfillment of rewards and incentive for the customers in the region. It can be merchandise, it can be gift cards, it can be digital voucher, coupons, whatever they decide to allow the points redemption. Okay. So they come first to us and they say, okay, we need help, not them directly, but the agency working with them in the US. and we build the entire thing for them and the entire operation in the region. And then when we realize we have US and European clients, we say potentially we have as well local clients that are interested to do the same. So we started to work with Etihad Airlines to fulfill as well locally the points redemption of loyalty. Then we had HSBC, we had like Etisalat, many different B2B clients, because they used to do it internally, but actually outsourcing to us helps them a lot, because they don't have to take care of the operation, there is no headache, it's very structured, and they can just blame us if something goes wrong, you know? And we say, okay, we realize working with these clients that actually it's not UAE only. We started to expand in the region because our clients ask us to expand in the region. So we opened Egypt, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, Saudi. We have a company in Saudi. We serve some of the largest banks in Saudi. We have an office in Pakistan as well, where we develop our own technology lab. We have over 30 developers now. And we open as well an office in the UK and in Singapore. Why? Because all our clients, even based in the region, have an international reach. All of them have customers or employees from all over the world. And actually with COVID it's accelerated, because we realized that everyone was stranded. And when you have, even when we do an employee engagement platform, I don't know if you know what is an employee engagement platform, maybe not, it's quite new. So it's a kind of loyalty program for employees. Let's say you are Employee of the Month, I give you 1,000 points. Okay. With the 1,000 points you can have this bottle of water, or you can have a gift card at Virgin Megastore. So it can be also, it's your birthday in the company, I give you 500 points. You've been 5 years with the company, I give you 5,000 points. You are always on time, I give you 5,000 points. So something like that. It helps you to have certainty on what you need to do and changing behaviors in the company. And so this points redemption, we realize, okay, the employees are there, but they are sending a lot of money back home. So why don't we allow them to send money back to the Philippines or back to India without money transfer? They can redeem the points, for example, for an Amazon gift card in India, or Flipkart, for example. I can redeem for Harrods in the UK, whatever I decide to do. So we build a platform and a technology that is able to do that real time. A kind of Uber of rewards and incentives, in a sense. So we were quite small, we grow very quickly, and COVID helped us to accelerate tremendously, and we just so we multiply our revenue by 3 in 2020, and we just closed our Series A round this year to help the next phase to happen. Because our ambition is to become the main point of contact for any engagement strategy or any engagement program in the region and globally. And we don't have only, so we are one of the first Dubai headquarter companies that is actually global. We have, for example, Air France KLM is one of our clients. Or we have Discover Network, you know, the credit card company. We signed a global deal with them for all the cities in the world, for all the aggregation of offers and so on. So we are quite proud, actually, to be an Emirati business and to be able to have done, to grow that much. And especially in the digital world, where usually you see this kind of innovation in the valley, or, you know, like in major European cities. So we are on a mission to show that we can do it from the Middle East. That's the idea.
That's brilliant. How did you fund your growth?
So we did it different ways. So we had seed investment coming from time to time, mainly with angel investors. Usually the approach was, anytime we were entering into a new market in MENA, we were approaching one angel investor that invests a bit of money but also opens the network. So it was, we were always looking for smart money. And to be honest, at the beginning it was quite difficult at that time because I'm a sole founder. I'm a woman, and we have less than 4% of the fundraising in the world anyway as female funders. But it was quite difficult to approach very big VC and so on, because also we were not in the right business model first. So we grow, and then also we also focus. So we went to certain clients and we told them, if you want that technology, you want us to adapt it for you or build it for you, then you need to fund it. You need to be a kind of sponsor. So we grow mainly organically. We had a bit of, in total, for the beginning, we had like about $2 million funding, but from many years. And this year, we just raised $5 million from 4 VCs, 3 in Saudi and 1 in Kuwait. We had opportunity actually to have funding from outside of the region, so London, US, and so on, but we say no. Actually, we got offers to be acquired. We say no, because we think it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Who offered to buy you, if that's not?
Sorry?
Who offered to buy you?
External companies, mainly international companies, to have the Middle East, because it's quite difficult to enter, and especially with our type of business, you need to have 1 company per country for currency settlement, tax settlement, relationship with the retailers, especially the retail industry, for example, is family groups that owns a brand per country. So if you look, for example, for IKEA, is not managed by the same group in all the MENA countries. So that's why it was an interesting aspect. So we were in talks. We said no, we think it's too early. We have grown so much during COVID. It was so difficult. We had no funding, no money. We believe we can grow this company much more. And actually this year, again, like we just got our funds at the end of the year. What we were supposed to have them at the beginning, but it's okay. So we have very big ambition for the coming years. And actually it's coming. We see that the market is ready, clients get used to it. They are looking for us. We have more inbound than actually outbound. We don't really reach out.
So do your husband still do what he was doing, or does he work for you now?
He joined us. He joined us, and like the 67 employees that we have now, and growing. So we have a lot of, the team is really, really expanding.
And you're I'm very interested on the digital side of your business, the B2B. Is it virtually all virtual? Is it mainly digital business, or do you have physical, tangible?
Everything, in a sense, is a token, because everything is related to a specific code. So whatever, so we issue points, we redeem points. So even when we have a merchandise redemption, let's say, for example, I redeem my 1,000 points for an iPhone. This iPhone actually is virtual because we don't have it. We don't have inventory.
No.
So we work on a dropshipment model. It depends. Now we will shift a little bit to have a kind of physical, but not too much, because we don't want to be dependent on these kind of things. But yeah, we are kind of B2B marketplace in a sense. And actually we white label marketplace for B2B business, for large business.
Yeah.
So, for example, banks come to us, they have a loyalty program and they want to digitalize it. So they are able from one day to another to say, all my points redemptions that have been installed, okay, I have now a kind of mini Amazon branded with the name of my loyalty program and the name of my bank.
Yes, it's a good business model, isn't it? Because you're not having to, like, when I first got into this personally, I found this place in Singapore.
Yes.
And you literally walked around this warehouse and it was all white label stuff. So you could basically put your logo on anything.
Yes.
So we used to do dragon boating there. So we had the British dragon boat team. It was British. We had about 60 nationalities. You didn't have to be British to be in it. But we had those, and that's where we had those threaded vests. And that's where I first saw the threaded logos, because they look really professional, don't they?
Yeah.
Rather than just the print stuff. But I love the idea that you've got you're fulfilling all this, but from a platform and with tokens, and then the the fulfillment is done as a byproduct, really.
Yeah,
but you don't
we
have.
do so many different type of redemptions. That's why I'm interested about anything new, because, for example, we have the gift cards aspect. So the beauty of what we have also the proprietary system that we implement with retailers. So actually we control from the beginning to the end until the customer redeem. Actually, we control everything. And we help the retailers to be more visible as well in terms of B2B program. We also allow mobile top-ups. So you can just redeem your points just to top up. I can take your number and just top up your mobile from distance. I don't even need to send you a code or anything. I just give your number down. We do travel redemption, experiences. We have merchandise, we have miles exchange now. So it's endless. Anything you can think about. Even for employee engagement now we have non-monetary. So it could be a day off, or it could be lunch with friends, or it could be just an appreciation. Like, you don't need to have always a monetary value in front of what we do.
No, absolutely. I used to love doing this with students, and when you say incentives, people just think of money.
Yeah, but it's not always the case.
It's not about the money. Most people leave their jobs because they don't like their boss, or they're bored, like you.
Yes.
Most people don't get their salary doubled and leave. What they want to do is feel recognised, rewarded, and believe in what they're doing. And most of the time, the good companies, they don't actually give people money. They give them things like this. It was a group of people where they gave them time off.
Mm-hmm.
The famous Australian software, they developed something like open source in their spare time. People do these fantastic things, altruistic things, when companies allow them the time. Like a lot of companies tried the 4-day or 4.5-day week. The actual profitability and the work went up. That people did more in more condensed time, like people flexi time, transport to work. So you should talk with Leblan. He's the. But I mean, that's the thing, that like transport to work, free uniforms, flexi time.
Charity.
Yes.
Very big in the region, especially with younger generation like yours. Actually, we saw, especially for Gen Z, it's crazy. Like, to be able to engage with the younger generation inside the company, anything that is not always monetary is important. But something that makes you feel you belong to a larger organization, that have a vision, that have values. It's very important. Like, actually, our average age in the company is 25 years old. So I know, because we have a lot of young people in the organization, and money is important in a sense that no one wants to be paid less than the market, but I agree with you, it's totally about a mix of engagement and recognition, and also to be part of a bigger picture, create an impact, having access to freedom of choice as well. Because what happened, usually the old-fashioned way to do employee engagement, for example, was always to buy a watch engraved with the logo of the company, and maybe it's not what I want, you know. It's nice, but maybe it's not what I want.
The gold watch.
Yes.
I remember my dad getting one of those.
Yeah, you see?
I've still
me
got
too,
it.
me too. It's the same. And oh, sorry, I'm touching. But so, what if for the same amount of money you can give to the charity you like, or you can contribute to sustainability? Like, you feel that it's your choice, or you can share it, because there are many studies that say that if you share a reward, the effect is 4 times on the person. You feel you belong. It can be a customer loyalty program like a bank, or it can be an employee engagement program from your company. It's the same impact. Why does a company will spend money to reward or incentivize you? It's only if there is an impact or a change of behavior behind it. Or, for example, if you can be someone that is a loyal customer but don't spend a lot, but you are a very good brand ambassador. You are referring me a lot of business because you love my company. And in that case, I should reward you. So more and more it's becoming, now it's still, the main thing we realized with the company was to facilitate operation, ensure that it was easy to do it. The next phase is going to be data, analytics, how to use AI, machine learning, potentially to be able to suggest campaign. Like if you have this startup, for example, for sneakers, okay, it's time, it's Black Friday coming, or it was last week, but a month before, I should have the platform telling you, okay, you need to start sending a campaign. This is what other companies in the world have done in fashion industry. What do you think about it? And then you decide, and you can edit it. But ultimately, this is what we want to achieve: to have something that was completely enterprise model. Like if you look at the business case of Salesforce, for example, that was very enterprise. What we are trying to do is to give access to any company in the world to be able to launch their own employee engagement program and their own loyalty program. Because right now it's mainly, like I said, banks, telecoms, airlines, government, which is great. Like we have a very good portfolio of clients, but we are very ambitious in a sense that we want to go the next step, and we want to show that anyone should be able to access the same technology and the same content. Because we are many startups or companies, and we want to bring our own database to a bigger picture,
Sounds great.
I'm speaking a lot.
No,
Maybe you have questions. I'm very passionate about what we do.
No, because that's the way it's flipping. That companies do realise that loyalty and retention, it works both ways. They want loyalty and retention of customers, but also you're only going to get that from employees if you treat them well and are creative. So that format of actually gifting, and then you could gift someone your gift, is lovely, isn't it? You could also pick on a charity that company really likes doing, and you, I don't know, WaterAid or Save the Children or something like that. So some people, if they wanted to, could gift it to them.
Yeah, this is, so one of the things I have sometimes a question, when do you have an employee engagement program, or when do you have a loyalty program? Why a company come to you for one or another? And one thing interesting we have as a client, we have Mubadala in the UAE for employee engagement program, and it's mainly for hospitals. Because you won't create a patient loyalty program, you don't want him to break his leg every week, right? However, you want to retain the doctors and the nurses and people that are skilled. It's why now we have golden visa for doctors. It's because we want to keep them in the country, right? So it's very interesting, this angle, because if I increase the doctor satisfaction or the nurse satisfaction, immediately the patient satisfaction increase. They're happy to work, they're happy to help, and then indirectly it's increasing your patient satisfaction anyway. So actually for a CEO, in general, or a founder, what is the most difficult is to align your customer engagement and your employee engagement together into the same vision. Because either you are super high on customer engagement, they are very happy, and your employees are not so happy because you pressure them to satisfy the customers. But there is always, you always have to adjust. And always, it's one of the main challenge I can see as an entrepreneur, is to have, being able to align. And this KPI is always a challenge. Even when you think it's okay, then suddenly, you have a new contract and then employees are suffering. Like, it's very difficult to do that. So this is our why. Why do we do that? We want to help companies to, do it seamlessly, to have tools to be able to do it and not think about the operation. I don't need to go and buy something, a gift and so on. I just connect to the platform and done.
I would have thought there's lots of opportunity here because, living here for a long time, if you have the misfortune to try and get into the banking system and speak to a human, that's hard enough. Also, and Etisalat and all these places, particularly banks and telecoms though, it's very difficult to get things done once you go outside of the norm, and it drives me mad actually. And also because they could flip it, couldn't they? They could have the best people in those call centres and really incentivize them. And you know, if you have, because I know I've spoken to people and they are put upon. It's like selling insurance here. It's a numbers game. But if you were able to get, and it's not all about money.
Mm-hmm.
If you are able to get things that mean something to you and you have the option of getting those, you're going to feel much better and you'd be loyal and retain your employment with the company. I think it's a really valid point. People are so focused on the outside that they don't do what they do. They don't kill people with kindness inside. You're seen as just a warm body, aren't you? They'll get somebody else if it's not you. But the trouble is, as we know, they can't keep changing. If you keep changing employees all the time, you're wasting your time, resources and money. Why don't you keep the people that you've got, a bit like customers, and make them better?
Yes. And even on the customer loyalty aspect, companies were very focused at some point to attract, with marketing, for example, attract a lot of new customers.
Banks.
But what are you doing with your existing customers?
Exactly that.
And what is the differentiation? And what makes... Because if you look at certain models, for example, Starbucks has, I think it's over 10% of their yearly sales based on their loyalty program. Actually, what we call branded currency. So branded currency is a mix of points, coupons, voucher, promo code, and so on. All these that are given to the existing customers or new customers that are coming for the first time. If you focus on that, and actually you have a real channel, like why spending so much money getting out while you have your own existing database? And that's one of the things, being too dependent on, I shouldn't say that because we work with it, on a Google, too dependent on an Amazon, too dependent on, you are too dependent on third party. What if you create your own with your existing? Like where you can, engage them, communicate with them. But the thing is, because everyone is so connected, if you communicate with them, you need to be relevant, you need to be quick, and you need to have something that makes sense. If as student I come to you and I say, oh, now you have points, you can redeem and so on, and it's super complicated to come on my platform, you don't understand anything, you don't have the right choice, you will try it once and you say, okay, what the hell, I don't want to use it again. So what if, as a company, I'm able to give you the same access and something with a user experience that is at the level of an enterprise? This is a goal, ultimate goal. We are not yet completely at this level. We are still working more on the enterprise. But that's why we raise funds, because we want to make it accessible. And it's a very big ambition. It's very difficult to do that. But we have a team that is super motivated, and actually we have really good investors behind us that are excited about this challenge. So, and funny enough, because we work with everyone in the industry globally, we realize that we are ahead. Like we thought about it even before anyone thought about it. Why? Because we come from a region that is so active, so dynamic, where, we came from zero e-commerce to digital payments in a few years. So we skipped some steps. So for example, I came back from London last week, where I was at a gift card conference. They are all still talking about physical gift cards. It doesn't really exist here, a couple of mall gift cards, but we went digital immediately because everyone has a smartphone. Why would I carry something on top of it? I don't even have a wallet, And so they were surprised how fast we went. And I'm like, no, it's normal. Look, even Saudi, we implemented digitalization 2 years ago. 60% of the population is below 35 years old. Of course, the adoption is super quick. You know it better, right?
It's a very, very good point, actually, because it's a bit like Kodak, actually. We went from inventing the digital camera and not patent it, and we all know what happened there, from film, chemicals and processors to, so China, Russia, those companies, they never really took lots of pictures, they went straight to digital. And here, you're absolutely spot on. Virtually everybody, apart from some very old Emiratis, you cannot function in the UAE without a smartphone.
Yes.
It's impossible, isn't it? It's physically impossible. Your Emirates ID is on there now. Everything on.
Oh, you have an OTP every 2 minutes, so...
Yeah, you've got to watch those, because some bright spark has started making OTPs to get into your account. It's a real scam. But it's so true. The UAE has gone, and they want to be the place for AI, blockchain and emerging technologies. And you know what they're like. They will.
Of course they will. And the thing is, to me, you know, I've been asked many times as a French woman, why do you stay there? Like, you have a company in the UK, one in Singapore, what are you doing, you know? And I'm like, and everyone is like, are you okay? You know, I was like, what the hell, you know, like, why, you know?
It is ridiculous, isn't
Exactly, and actually I've faced more difficulties in my own country as a woman than in this country. Actually, I'm so much more welcome, and I've never been questioned about my skills or about the fact that I can achieve something. I raised my first fundraising round 8 months pregnant of my third child, okay? And I was very pregnant, and I told him, okay, we need to sign because next week I'm giving birth, so I can't wait much longer.
It's a good closing speech.
No, exactly. I told them we can go in 1 month.
Do that.
Exactly. I was like, we can meet again in 2 or 3 months if you want, but now I have, like, it's not possible. And actually, I've been so amazed by. It's not about being welcome, you know, like it would sound a bit cheesy, because actually people challenge you. It's very challenging to do business in this country in the sense that everyone expects the best. You don't have half. If you come with something, it needs to be the best, the top in anywhere in the world. You can't take half, or, you know, take your time or anything, like someone else will pick up behind you. And also the big advantage is that I always had support, always, from people that will give us a chance. You know, like coming to a CEO and say, okay, I have an idea, we have already an MVP, but it's not completely ready, will you give us a chance? And so on. And I think this is what made a huge difference compared to Europe. And especially as a woman, I didn't feel any constraint. Even 4 years ago, 3 years and a half, I opened my first company in Saudi. By myself, I went with my abaya on and my hijab and everything, and I went to open the company.
That's brilliant. That wouldn't have happened 20 years ago.
No, of course it was, but it was just before they opened everything, so it was still unsure. But we had support. We had a lot of support, and actually people were very, very proud that I'm able to do it while being a mother, for example. That's one of the things that really makes them wow, you know. And now we raised the first $5 million Series A round. My lead investor is the first Saudi female VC partner in the world. So actually she was tough. She was tougher than the man. But it's a very interesting thing to see how much we have evolved. You know, it's been 11 years I'm here. I can see the difference. And UAE was always welcoming. I've never felt it. But for the other country around, they got inspired by what Dubai has done, or the UAE in general. And I think you have a chance to have, even your startup, to have something completely different. When I went to a tech accelerator in Silicon Valley, and they told me, okay, raise funds here, you need to move. And I'm like, no, I don't want to move. And but what you're gonna do in Dubai? Like, it's nowhere, you know. It's not, they don't say nowhere because they are polite, but like, why? We offer you Silicon Valley. I'm like, listen, I don't see myself living there with my 3 kids. What I'm gonna do? It's gonna be complicated, super expensive. I don't have my setup. I don't want to change them. And actually, I see more opportunities in emerging countries because I'm in between very mature countries and emerging countries where the growth is very high. Why would I go and spend my time over there? To tap into the emerging market doesn't make any sense. So, and we didn't invent anything. We are just simplifying a business model that exists in mature market and bring it to emerging, which is a bit kind of different of a complete new idea. So yeah, I think it's a great place to do business. It's as an entrepreneur, it's tough because it can be sometimes challenging if you don't understand. But having a coffee with a CEO or mentorship is very important.
Yeah.
At any stage of your career.
That'll be our next invitation for you because
Yeah.
your experience with online and digital business platforms is something that a lot of us could learn from. Also, it will be reciprocal. We are having an AI part to the incubation centre.
Ah, super.
So we can, as projects, if you have data, we have the AI man, and we're going to have 3 or 4 students with him. So industry-based projects that you wanted.
Would love to. Actually,
we'd love to help.
We are starting a program with. So it's one professor from Berkeley University who is specialized in AI, and they will help us to define the AI roadmap and help us hire, and because we need to build our team. And we were looking at specifically hiring students. Actually, we have an internship program as well. So I would say 30% of our staff now is coming from the internship program. Most of them stay with us. They stay 3 months in interns and then they move to being a full-time employee. So we have been very active in that. I would love to collaborate. It's,
brilliant. I mean,
it's something that I strongly believe in building, building a team that is also starting with you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they have to stay forever because we know it's not possible. But at least we have an alumni, we have people that are proud to have been part of the team. We keep growing, and now we have also very strong people that are coming in the team. So we have ex-Karim Pay, we have very good people that are coming with us, even on the tech side. So it's an exciting part.
It is very, and we have some good experience here. Some of our students work with, Rupert Tate? He's another local entrepreneur.
It rings a bell.
He's doing what you're doing in the construction industry. So, because he's from my old industry, the audiovisual, and audiovisual always comes at the end of the contract.
Yes.
So it comes with plumbing and electrics.
Yeah.
And you're meant to have this. I know, it's madness. So you walk into this room, there's no suspended ceiling, there's no floor panels, and the walls are concrete. And so they've got to dig it all out again if they want something, integrated. But so his model is that instead of massive bits of paper and loads of meeting for contracts, he has the contractors and the people who are working on the projects, and he's in the middle. And you think it's such a simple idea, but no one had thought of it before because you did the things the way you did them, because you did the way they will always work.
Yeah.
But so he's started with 3 of our students because it took a lot of data. So he transferred a lot of the data from his business and where he wanted it to go. So it's quite complex. But our students helped him migrate all this. So he's now got a platform that the 2 parties can go on and get what they want. He gets paid as a percentage once a transaction's gone, but they can look at small, large, medium projects, big, massive ones as well, and get the labour and the skills and the products all done on a platform. So I don't think anybody else has thought of that, and that's again a local business starting up doing it. So the UAE will love you for being a Dubai-based company that's the head office, and they do support us. So we get the students get access to Dubai SME, Dubai Future Foundation, Mohammed bin Rashid Innovation Fund, and they'll be pitching at the demo day on the
we were part of it
on the 14th.
So
a couple of ours won last year an accelerator program and
very nice.
cash money. So they are really supporting startups and the entrepreneurial ecosystem here. It's not just talk. So it's great to hear that you're saying, well, actually, I'd rather be here. Because I think, because they always say to me, are you going home? And I'd say, well, what for?
To me, Dubai is home. Like,
two of my kids were born here, two out of 4.
2 of my kids, of my 3, were born here, and it's not only that, it's dynamism and also the, how can I say that, compassion, no, it's not compassion, it's a kindness in a sense, it's people are more willing to listen. It's more, in a positive attitude in general, which is really, really good. It's normally it's a younger country, but it's very impressive what they have achieved, and I think this is also, you have cycles. Sometimes you say, okay, maybe it's difficult now, but they come back, look at Expo, it's amazing. So I think for anyone, I don't see anymore that the US is so much more in terms of technology. Actually, you have so many new cities that are so much ahead. India, for example, you have so many talents, like it's crazy. So I just find you need just to find a place where you're happy with and where you think there is a business opportunity, where you are comfortable, and then go ahead.
But I think you're in the right place for a cloud or platform-based business, because they, if they say they want to be at the head of it, they will, and they will draw in people to get it done.
Yeah.
And of course, in the old days, the business was hard work. You had to work around the system. I think I had a British Virgin Island company, so the only place I couldn't work to get around the system, and then you have it wasn't illegal, but it was just hard work. Now, of course, I mean, I had one of the original offices in Internet City when there was only one building.
Yes.
Of course, you can't see where it starts and finishes now, but the FZ LLCs and now even LLCs.
Yeah.
He's got an LLC that you can get without a local sponsor now.
Yes. That's
So-
amazing.
So he can open, so you can
So
have
it's one of the exempted activities.
Yeah.
But that was unheard of before. They are open for business, and they want, because they're not daft. If you're here, you're spending your money on health, schools, homes, everything else. And Dubai are very good at getting you to spend your money, aren't they?
Yes, they did it very well. So for example, now I got a golden visa as well, which is what, totally unexpected. I didn't even apply. I was selected by the Dubai Chamber of Commerce, suggested by the French Embassy, but they are
Brilliant.
smart, because in a sense I will stay even longer, 10
If
years.
If that's not one of the best loyalty and retention programs, what
Exactly.
is?
I was, and actually, funny enough, because I do a lot of my business in Saudi. So when I told the Saudi clients that I had a golden visa in Dubai,
They gave you one.
no, so they wanted to give me Saudi premium residency, which is like a golden Ikama.
Yeah.
But the setup fee, I think it's 800,000 riyal. I'm like, not sure, maybe later on, but now it's
Why
a bit
not?
complicated.
Why haven't you got that money?
But no, it's interesting to see what's happening in the region. even now we do business in Kuwait. We have a company in Egypt. Like so many things are moving. You know, like it's a very interesting era.
Yeah.
And
No,
I think
really
COVID
is.
made us, in a sense, it's really sad, this pandemic, but for digitalization, it helped us to win maybe 2, 3, 4 years by pushing things to be accepted faster. You know, like we had clients that from one day to another told us, okay, the contract was signed for ages, but nothing was moving on, you know. And they told us, okay, we need to be live next week. Because everything was on lockdown and we had no choice. So we had sleepless nights last year, definitely. But what is super interesting is we feel part of a journey. Like we feel part of something that will change in the future. I'm not saying that we are curing cancer with what we do at all, but I think it's one step to move things faster and allow you guys to have your own company and build something else and now everyone sees it. You have unicorns in the region. You have exit. You have before no way. It was very complicated.
Yeah.
Like even for us saying like an American company or a European company coming and saying we want to acquire. Are you sure? We know the value, but do you know what we are talking about? Yeah, we know. So it's just that we have interesting things happening, and it's good for all entrepreneurs. It's not about us specifically. Some other businesses were impacted, but I think it's all the hard work that UAE has done to build this ecosystem, and it's really moving forward now. Yeah.
I think the positives in the COVID season was it's changed people's minds about ways of doing business, and it's made people think that online is the way to go, and education. When you think of Bitcoin and blockchain, if that really works, what's going to happen to banks? What's going to happen to accountants? You know, it's quite scary when you actually, all the established businesses, you know, that if you're an accountant and you're not on the cloud, I hate that term, the cloud, but it's some grubby server in Ohio or under the sea, isn't it? But if you're not adding value with cloud-based products, you're not going to be an accountant for very long. And that's happening in the UK and all over the world, because everybody knows, we don't do tax returns, fortunately, but everybody knows the price of tax returns around the world, and you can do volume with it and send it off. But why are you doing it with paper? You don't do it with paper now. It's all digitally based.
Yeah.
So I think you'll be into non-fungible tokens, seriously. I really do, because you'll have to have a chat with they know more about it than me. But I saw the monkey head and I just thought, I've seen I'm not shocked by anything, but this is like a graphic picture that a 7-year-old has produced, and it's £500,000.
And right now Adidas, for example, is collaborating with them to the metaverse.
Yeah.
So it's becoming.
So you've got this artwork that you own on your phone and you have the rights to. So you do own it, but it's not a physical piece of artwork. So it's like Banksy on your phone.
Yeah, that's good. I think.
Yeah, it is, isn't
Yeah.
it? I wouldn't pay it though.
Even the market is for like younger generation.
He's really into it. This is
so it's
his.
like below 25, all those people,
Yeah.
they know.
Actually, I like it personally. I like more something I can carry with me than having it not moving. Or the only thing is about the selfish aspect of things. You keep it only for yourself.
But you're right, but most of the people think it's like, it's mine, like, it's my
Yes.
experience with it, so it's like personalized item.
Yes.
In a way, I think that's the main reason people buy and sell.
I think
it.
if you do the metaverse aspect where you can share with people and invite them to go for a special exhibition because you own it, and it makes sense. But I feel the sharing aspect is key.
Yeah, that's the bit that makes us human, isn't it? The interaction.
Yeah.
I'm all for online, but you'll never get really good information from people if you're not face to face with them. Like you never.
I think because technologies don't allow you now.
Yeah,
but I think with metaverse, why not? Like if
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
I'm with you in the room and I can move and you can see my facial
Yes.
expression.
Oh, if it
And
comes to that.
it's not through a screen and you can
Yeah.
hear the sound and you don't tell me every 2 minutes you're on mute or something like that.
I know. If you hear that once more, I'll scream.
Me too, I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah. Am I audible? That's what a lot of people say.
Can you hear me? Right.
You're on mute.
Most used line of like last year, right?
Yeah.
Most used line of.
Oh, you're on mute, yeah, all
Yeah.
the time. I mean, I must admit, I was sick and tired of Teams. We were on, as a university, we were straight on the ball, so we went straight to online teaching. And again, long term,
Yeah.
do you need to do a degree? Sitting in a building in the future? Oh, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be saying that, but the hybrid system.
I think hybrid is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's the best thing ever. And actually that's why I quit as well being an employee, because I felt I was too constrained being a mother and being high performing employees. I didn't mind to do many hours, but I had an issue with not being there for the right moment and not being able, or having to justify. Like, I was the first lawyer pregnant in this law firm on 88 lawyers. So it was a massive change for them in their head, you know, like to allow me to go early, and it was very complicated. We managed, but like, I felt it was middle age, you know, at that time. And now what you will never see now. And that's why hybrid is great, because it can help you, you know, for example, now my kids are older, I'm happy to go every day at the office. I love it. I'm quiet, no one is coming every 5 minutes to ask me something, so it's good. But certain moments of my life, I need to have this flexibility. And I need to be able to connect everywhere. We would have never been able to reach that global aspect of things. We operate in 100 countries globally. Like, how do you want to do it without the hybrid model? If we were not able to speak to suppliers or clients all over the world, in a Zoom, it was not accepted. I had, especially Middle East clients, they never wanted to connect to a Zoom. They were come to Saudi and for coffee. Okay. Which is great, you know, face to face you get to know people, but at the same time it limits the possibility of growth.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the, going back to internet, I used to be involved in video conferencing.
Yeah.
So it was always the big companies that bought it because they just saw the value of it straight away.
Yeah.
Because it's 30 frames a second, we're sitting at the same size as a human, I can see if you're shifting in your seat or you're telling stories.
Body language is one very important thing.
Exactly, because back in the day, Skype, whatever happened to Skype, by the way? Microsoft squashed it, didn't it?
When I started my career, I had a BlackBerry.
Yes.
And I was super young, and everyone was looking at me.
Well, that's because you've got nice thin fingers like my daughter.
Yeah, it was super difficult.
It's the smallest type.
Yes.
My daughter would be able to send messages.
Like everyone was saying, "Oh, don't show it. You will look like you are showing off." Like showing off with a BlackBerry, like. And but the thing is, same. I had video conference very, very, very early, you know, and everyone was saying, "Really, you work on video conference?" It was a big thing. Yeah. We had even a conference call with a kind of octopus in the middle, you know, like. And it was a big thing.
That would have been Polycom, probably.
Yeah, and we had, you know, like, because I was working for a global bank as well, we had secured access. We were able remotely to access to the server anywhere in the world, but it was completely out of the mind of many people. So, and this is what is interesting, having access to the technologies that enterprise pay a fortune, and give it to SME and
So this is a little
Thank you
real
so
fungible token.
It would be very nice to have my face on the...
This is a physical gift.
It's
so
nice.
The idea is that we give you two, so you can sign this for us, and we keep it, and you'll have one
Okay.
for there. So thank you. We must invite you back for a mentoring session, because the journey that you've been on is brilliant, and how quickly you've covered
Thank you.
this before, during and after COVID is testament to, you know, not only your ability but actually being able to get things done digitally on a format that really and truthfully is, like you say, it's not rocket science this, but how many companies do it for their employees? Not many.
Not many.
And it's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, I'm not a big fan of Richard Branson, but he was the only one who answered,
Yeah.
what's the most important thing about your business? Everybody said customers, apart from him.
Yeah, team.
He said employers.
Yeah. When we
Because
announced,
if you get them
I
right,
agree.
you
When
get the customers right.
Yeah, when we announced the fundraising, we posted a picture of, actually the marketing team posted the picture of our team, and I'm not on the picture. Everyone contacted me because I was taking the picture. And so everyone contacted me, I can't find you on the picture. I'm like, it's okay, it's a team, you know? And so everyone asked, because actually the thing, we put different pictures, and they pick one where I was not on it. But I really don't mind.
What they should do then
don't-
is like find Julie. You
Oh,
know, you
Photoshop.
can-
Where's Wally?
Photos-
Where's Julie?
But instead of spot the ball, you could do spot Julie.
But I think this is what I learned, because when you start, you are quite self-centered as a founder. You want to prove something, especially when you are young. While actually the biggest value now is promoting the team, pushing them above and beyond.
That's an excellent point to end with.
Yeah.
That's really good. That is really good, because when you do meet some entrepreneurs, it is all me, and
It's
you don't get things done
it's-
long term.
No, you
like that
cannot. It's
attitude.
getting out of your mind and out of your hand as well. It's just it's a mindset. Like it's also insecurities on many. What I
Yeah.
notice on many entrepreneurs are very insecure. Like I
Yeah.
was at the beginning. You know, I was